So anyway, again, thanks for joining this. We do these monthly Zoom calls now where we invite a Beautycounter consultant that is in the Beautycounter or is in the professional field of beauty, either a facialist, esthetician, makeup artist, hairdresser, and really excited. We have so many artistic people in our field now, which I love. Like Kai knows, I'm a big fan of all of you. You guys are my tribe. So, and I'm really excited to bring Kai on because Kai is, I remember meeting her in Washington, D.C., and she was telling me that she was not only a makeup artist that made me so excited, but she was actually a clean makeup artist. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, yay. So anyway, so let's bring Kai on and let's do a chat.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Christy. I'm so glad to be here with you.
I know, I'm so excited to have you here too. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. I'm like full of matcha, so I'm like zippy and ready to go.
I actually today, I didn't have any caffeine today, but I have those dandelion greens. Have you ever seen them?
Yeah. So yeah, I love dandelion greens.
It's the dried. It tastes like a coffee. So I have that with a little almond milk, which is really nice. So we'll be sharing our matcha and our dandelion. But you're a senior manager at Beautycounter, which is congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let's talk about you for a little bit. Let's talk about how you decided to join Beautycounter and also what made you decide to switch to clean.
So first, I guess we'll start with why I switched to clean in the first place. I switched to clean because a few years ago, I had a miscarriage. I was pregnant with twins and pretty late in my pregnancy. And, you know, obviously my husband and I were devastated, but we wanted to know why, like, why did it happen? And there was no answers. Like the doctors don't give you any answers, just like it happens sometimes, even in my case, which was like pretty far, you know, like I was pretty far into. And so I wasn't happy with that answer. And so I started doing a lot of research. I saw multiple doctors. And then finally once, because you have to get past a certain point when things like that happen, where your hormones should be back to normal because it takes a while. But once I got back to that point, I had my hormones checked and they were completely like out of whack. Even for like my condition and stuff, the doctors were like, this is a really bad case. Like your hormone imbalance is pretty severe. So once I knew that I had like a severe hormone imbalance, I wanted to obviously get my hormones back in balance and get my body to a healthy place. So I got all the information I needed from the doctor. I had all my blood work done and stuff. And then I went to a holistic practitioner because I just felt in my heart that I was going to get the care that I wanted. And so I did that and I was able to, I mean, I had like a completely transformative life after that. My body functioned different, my skin looked different, my outlook was different on life. And so then I decided to clean up everything, like my house, you know, I'm eating differently and all of this stuff. And then I was putting on my makeup one day.
Would you say that that was like a year-long experience?
Yeah, it was at least, yeah, like at least a year, probably a year and a half that I was doing just that. And then I was putting on my makeup one day because I love makeup. I know some makeup artists actually love playing in makeup, but they don't actually like putting makeup on themselves. I'm not that girl. Like I practice on me. I love putting on makeup. It's like one of my joys. So I was putting my makeup on one day and then I just had this little voice in my head that was like, did you check, what about the products that you're putting on your, you know, like on your face and on your body? And I don't know where it came from, but I was like, I should look into that. And I did. And I was like floored at the lack of regulation for all like cosmetics, but body products, like my toothpaste, like everything. And I was just shocked. And I was like, I've got to change this stuff. For me, my husband also has like really bad eczema. We both have sensitive skin. And so I started switching all of those products. And then when I did that, my clients started saying, oh, your skin looks great, or I love that lipstick, what are you wearing? And it was nothing that was in my kit, because I had switched all of my stuff. And I was like, you know what, I need to change my kit professionally. And so I started trying a bunch of stuff, and I found things that were really clean and they had great ingredients, but they just didn't perform. And by trade, I'm a makeup artist, but I work in TV. And so it's not an option for it not to perform. I work on live TV. So, if I screw up,
running or melting
yes,
during the weather report. Right?
Exactly. If the mascara runs on national news, I'm gonna have to answer for that. So I was very concerned because I was like, oh, there's a lot of products, but they don't perform, or vice versa, where they weren't as clean as I would have liked, but they perform. So in my search, I actually gave up for like a week or two because I was so exhausted. I kept getting all these products I didn't like. And I was like, instead of looking up clean brands, let me look up clean makeup artists. And that's how I found you, actually.
Oh, really? I don't know that. Maybe you told me that, but
yeah, I don't think I've ever told you that story, but I started looking up clean makeup artists, and then I saw your work, and then I was like, this is crazy. So I was like, she's part of this brand, this Beautycounter, and she's doing all of this beautiful work. And as a makeup artist, as you know, like our tools are very important, so, and they were also quite frankly, when you're working with certain types of clients, your products need to look nice as well as perform. You need to make the client comfortable that you're using good products. You can't bring like crumbled powder in a little bag to a client. So, which is what some clean beauty has come a long way, but at the time that some of my stuff was being delivered like that, that was
a lot of it was just loose, right?
Yeah, it was just
pressed powders, really.
Yes. Everything was just kind of loose. And so once I researched you and I looked at the products, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I've seen these before. And I have a friend who's actually now my business partner, who's also a makeup artist. And I was like, I think I've seen these on her page. And so I contacted her and I was like, are you using Beautycounter? Are you a consultant? Tell me everything. And so she lives about an hour and a half away from me. And I like jumped in my car and drove to her house and I made her show me everything. She gave me a bunch of stuff to try. And I was like, I love this stuff. Where do I sign? And that's kind of how my Beautycounter journey began.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And she came with you to DC, right?
Yes. So Suzanne came to be, so I had literally I might have just signed up. Like I was probably like a week or two in. And then I found out that you and Greg were in DC. And so I was like, I have to meet them. I have to go. I have so many questions. I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to get to talk to them, but I want to go. And you guys were both so gracious. Like you answered all my 8 million questions. And even with, makeup artists, like you actually took all of us aside, like our little group of makeup artists, like these are my people. And we had like a whole talk about like what was in the line, what wasn't in the line, what you wanted to, what did you asked us for our honest opinion, like what do you really think of this? And I think we should change this. And to see that every single thing, like you guys really take everything we say to heart, because every single thing we talked about has been done in the line. Like every time something comes out, I'm like, oh my gosh, we talked about such and such and such, and now it's here. So how cool is that? Like to know, like if you are a client with Beautycounter, if you're a consultant with Beautycounter, that everyone at Beautycounter really does take what you say seriously. So
100%.
Yeah,
we absolutely, like I love feedback from, that's how we learn, right? That's how everyone's skin is different. You're working on different clients. Like, if I just looked at this through my eyes, then it would be a very boring line, right? So I'm always taking in, I think that's why makeup artists also too, we're so good at being in what we do, like in my line of work and your line of work, through selling for Beautycounter, is that we have this opportunity and have had the opportunity to work on a million different faces, right? So, and skin textures and shades. And so, we take all of that into consideration when we are, working with our clients, or you're sharing things with your clients. And so it's been really great to see the Beautycounter team grow through makeup artists as well. But yes, we do listen. I listen. I've reached out to you many times to ask your feedback, and so Kai, I'm a huge fan of yours, and also appreciate all of your feedback too. So let's talk about the benefits of your skincare regimen. Because your skin is amazing. Every time I see you, it's glowing. And I know your makeup is always on point, but I know underneath that you've got amazing canvas to work with. So share a little bit about that, because I'm sure everyone's dying to know.
So skincare. So just a little background on my skin. I have sensitive skin, and I mean, like, some people have reactive skin, which is different from sensitive. Sensitive is like your whole life you've been sensitive. Like, you've always had ointment in case of emergency. That was me, like, as a kid until now. So I have sensitive skin, but I'm also prone to clogged pores. So my skin is kind of like normal to oily. It used to be really oily pre-Beautycounter. Now it's pretty normal and slightly oily in the summer. So my skin's normal to oily. It's prone to clogged pores, and it's sensitive. But also, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I need some, anti-aging and some radiance. So a long time ago, I made the decision to not use, because of like my hormone imbalance and stuff like that, to not use retinol and to not use Botox. So then I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I'm like, what am I going to do then? Because I still want to maintain. And so Beautycounter has been revolutionary in my skincare routine. And because I'm sensitive, I'm one of the rare people in Beautycounter that does mix up their skincare a little bit. I do think our regimens and collections are where most people should start, because they kind of synergistically work together. But if you have really sensitive skin, sometimes you gotta kind of play around a little bit. So my skincare regimen is a little bit different. So when I first started, I was very, very oily. And like I said, I had more of like acne prone skin. And so I started really simply. Actually, I used to use, like, now I think that is what would be now Counterstart, but it was like the nourishing cleanser. And I used.
And Kai, sorry to interrupt, but can you just for everyone watching, can you tell them when you joined? Actually, like, was it 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 7?
This is my 5-year anniversary. I actually just got my little happy 5-year anniversary gift from Beautycounter. So yeah.
So, I was like, it's either, I wouldn't have said 5. I was like, it's 4 or 6. But I knew you've been in here with us. You've been doing this a while with us. It's awesome.
I have. Yeah, it's been so great.
Back to your skincare.
So when I first started, I kept it very simple. I used like what would be now the Counterstart cream cleanser, because I was sensitive. And then because I was prone to clogged pores, I would alternate that with the charcoal bar, which is still a favorite of mine. I use it for so much stuff, like to decongest my skin, for pit detox. That's a whole nother call, but
brushes.
Clean your makeup brushes. Like, you can use it for anything. So I started with those 2 products, and then I used the balancing oil, which completely changed my skin. If you're oily, do not be afraid of oil. It really balances out the skin, like having the oils mixed with the oil. So I started with balancing oil, and it completely balanced my skin out to the point where I was just normal. And then from there, I worked up. So currently, like, my new skincare is I at night, I usually double cleanse. So I start with the oil cleanser, which I'm obsessed with. And I'm so glad that you created it, because I'm a very long time oil cleanse. Before I even used clean products, I've always been a big fan of oil cleansing. I think it's so much easier on the face too. Like, you don't have to, like, dig into the skin.
Drag, it also doesn't overstrip your skin. It really is there to massage and also to remove makeup. I also too, Kai, I mean, we talked about this, like, you know, since I was a kid, I've always used oils on my face. That's why, you know, I developed the 1, 2, and 3 at the time, and the oils, because I had reactive skin and I had some breakouts, and the only thing that I could find that ever calmed my skin was oils. And so of course, moving into an oil cleanser to support the oils was, you know, something that was super important. It's also, you know, the K beauty and the Japanese, like they, you know, they always use these amazing oils for their skin. So I appreciate that you're an oil lover too, because it did scare people in the beginning. People were like, when we first launched, they were like, how are we going to tell people to put oils on their face? I was like, trust me, they're going to fall in love with this. And so
it's amazing. And it's my favorite one I've ever used too. And I've used a lot. So when makeup artists tell you that they've tried a lot of stuff, trust us, we have. We've literally used everything on the market. So yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, so I double cleanse now. I use the cleansing oil. And then my second cleanse is usually the Counter Match foaming cleanser, which I'm also obsessed with. So good.
Too. It doesn't overstrip the skin, which is nice.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. And then I always use in the daytime, I'm a diehard fan of using the acne serum from Counter Control. And then to kind of just keep everything at bay. And then I actually have one here. I have these all over my house. I'm obsessed with them.
That's so funny.
Then I use the Counter Plus All Bright C Serum. You guys, this is like, if someone asked me what my product of the year was, this is my product of the year. It's evened out my skin tone. It makes it so bright. Sometimes I forget to put on highlighter. And if you know me as a person, highlighter is my absolute favorite thing to put on the planet. Like I wear it every day, like even if I'm just going to the grocery store because I like to glow. But it made my skin so glowy that sometimes I'm like, oh, did I put on? I don't know if like I've been forgetting to put it on. But I do those two in the daytime. And at night, I use the Counter Time serum. And I just do that because, like I said, I am really sensitive and I do have hyperpigmentation. So I use that like what some people would use as their like deep treatment, or people that use, you know, have previously used retinol would use it at night. I follow that regimen. So that way I can get all my serums in. So I use the 2 in the day, the 1 at night. And then I always follow with a facial oil. Sometimes I mix with moisturizer, sometimes I don't. I just love the oils. I've now moved from the number 3 to the number 2, which I love. It smells like jasmine. It's so plumping and hydrating and juicy and amazing. I love it so much. And so that's probably my favorite. I also really like the number 1. I actually just ordered one. So I kind of alternate between the 2, and I'll use like a pump of moisturizer. Actually in the daytime, I'm wearing that right now too. My favorite moisturizer is actually the Counterman Oil Free. Ah, it's so good, you guys. It's like, it's not oily, but it still makes your skin look juicy. I don't know how to explain that. It's not matte. So I use that and I put a couple of drops of oil in it. And at night I use the Counter Time moisturizer. So usually, because I'm normal oily, I use the Radiance, like the soft cream.
Yeah, the soft cream.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of like my mix. When I do mask a couple of times a week, charcoal mask, best mask on the market, you guys, for detox. There's nothing better. I'm telling you, I've tried everything. I will use Supreme Cream after that because it's a little more drying. But usually I use the soft cream, and that's my skincare regimen. And for makeup too, it's so important. If you don't do your skincare, the makeup is never going to look good. So you're just wasting your time. You could be the best artist in the world, but if you don't have a good canvas, it's not going to work.
I know. I agree completely with you on that. I think, that was, I have my esthetician background. Of course, my license is expired. It was from a very long time ago, but I still have my roots in being an esthetician. So skincare has always been my, that's my baby at the end of the day. Like, I love makeup, of course, but I really equally care just as much about skin. And so tell me about, why did you actually join Beautycounter then?
So
you decide, I know you fell in love with the products. You were they filled a gap in your professional need and your personal need.
Yeah.
But what made you to say, okay, I want to be a consultant, I can do this?
So the reason why I wanted to be a consultant, well, actually the first reason was because I wanted to try more products, and I did want to build my kit with products that were good, that lasted and that were nice and good for clients. But then I also, because of my background with having issues with, you know, my fertility and my hormones, just seeing that Beautycounter was also advocating for safer products for everyone, so that someone else that might, you know, would hopefully not be in the same position that I was in, because it's a devastating place to be. And if someone could know, you know, just have the information and make better choices for themselves, maybe their outcome might not be the same as mine. I mean, we can't predict what's going to happen, but I just think of it like this. I always tell my clients this when I'm working with someone switching to clean beauty. I'm like, when you go to McDonald's and you order a Big Mac, you know what you're getting yourself into, and that's totally fine, you know, but you know. So it's the same thing if you go to the drugstore, the department store, or, you know, or you're private shopping with someone, you should know, you should feel confident that your products that you are already purchasing are safe for you, are healthy for you, and are good for the environment too. And so being a Beautycounter being a B Corporation was also really awesome when I started researching. I'm a researcher, so that got me really excited too. And the reason why I became a makeup artist kind of combined with my Beautycounter, with wanting to be part of Beautycounter. And that's because as a woman of color, we're not always included as far as color, like coloring wise. I know being a makeup artist, I've been on shoots where I had, you know, if there was like a Black model or an Indian model or someone, like, thank God you're here, because they don't know who's coming. And it shouldn't have to be like that. Like, people shouldn't have to question whether someone's going to be able to accommodate them. And me having this love for makeup and not being able to find products, and I'm not even the extreme of the spectrum. Like, I'm not really, really dark or really, really fair. I'm like right in the middle, and having all these issues trying to find things so that I could express myself was one of the reasons I became a makeup artist. And so in the clean beauty space, I was like, if I can make a difference there where people are using healthy products and women of color felt comfortable, like, you know, and knowing that they're going to be taken care of because there's an inclusivity around it. And that's why I actually ended up forming my own company, Modern Green Goddess, is for inclusive beauty for everyone. So, and I feel like that goes with Beautycounter's you know, philosophy so much. And even yours, Christy, like, I know that you always think about that when you make products. So, which I appreciate so much, that you're always like, well, how, you know, how is this going to work on the spectrum of people? You know, how many people are going to be able to use this? I know for a fact that you always advocate for like those pops of color and things like that, because you know that certain people will be able to wear those. So,
I know.
That's the reason.
Even as a makeup artist, like, you know, when I partnered with Greg and we were, you know, conceiving products, it's like when we launched Tint Skin, I mean, it was split. There was, you know, a porcelain, then there was linen, sand, and then it went honey.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went to like tan, golden, dark, mocha, chestnut, and mocha. Because for me as a makeup artist, like, there's just no, like, I have to be able to work on all skin tones, right? And how embarrassing would it be for me to have not had colors that I could personally use? And so we always say, like, everyone means everyone, right?
Yeah.
And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when we launched, obviously, you know, it was Greg and Gina and I, mostly those girls, like going around in cars around the United States, like talking, trying to get people to sign up. And I was like, head down in the lab, or I would do, you know, like in DC, I would join, but, you know, we had limited product at the time because we didn't have the money. Like, we couldn't launch like, you know, 170 color SKUs, you know? So, you know, we really limited, but every single shade was very thoughtful, you know, in what we put out there. And So, as you've all seen, like with the, with the shade expansion in Skin Twin and now the creamy concealer, and, and we'll continue to add shades to those lines as well. It's like, with every step, you kind of take a breath and then you learn, you gather information, and then you take another step, because it really is like when you say, also too, that we ask questions, it's like part of it is like, I just don't want to throw skews at things, right? So
Yeah.
it's a little bit like you go a little bit, you gather information, and then because it's not about having just 60 shades, right? Because
Right.
out of those 60s, I don't even, a very high percentage of them aren't even really working.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was what I was going to say. When people say inclusive beauty, you guys, I think that I just have to say this, like I'm me, I see my mind. Inclusive means that everyone was thought of, that it's actually a well thought out shade. That's different from, someone just coming out with like 60 colors. Because I have personally, as a makeup artist, been like sent product or something like that, where there was like 60 shades, and the lighter shades and the darker shades, where I was like, this is not even like a color of a human. Like they would be like really orange or whatever. So they were not thought out. That's not inclusivity. That's just throwing your name on inclusivity. And one of the things I loved about Beautycounter, I actually joined because I tried tint skin, and it was such a cool, unique product, but also the color range. I was like, this is so well thought out. Like that was one of the reasons why I joined, and also the lip gloss. I'm obsessed with it. But I hate sticky lip gloss. Lip gloss gives me the it's so hydrating. But that was one of the reasons why I was like, this is a good line, because it's actually thought out. Instead of having 8 million shades and a bunch of them are non-usable, each shade really works, and also you can mix them very easily. So
yeah, and that was the point in the beginning too. So I of course appreciate that you recognize that, because it was something that I took very, very seriously. And of course, for me, I love makeup artists. So of course, like the color to me, it's like, I better get it right because I've got a slew of makeup artists that are going to tell me that it's not right. So
yeah.
I work especially hard for that very reason. So I think also too, like, let's talk a little bit, and I know we've been talking for a while now, so we probably have to like, I could talk to you forever. Maybe we hang up and keep going. But I think, obviously during this time there, we're working from home. I think somebody asked, where were we broadcasting from? You're at your home, and I'm at my family's place in Texas, in my little COVID bunker. But anyway, so I think like talk a little bit about how you've had to pivot your business during this time.
So I'm in DC, you guys, if you didn't know. I'm here in the nation's capital, and I definitely had to pivot my business. Listen, if you're out there and you're a makeup artist, esthetician, hairstylist, you work in theater, any of that stuff, listen, it's hard right now. Like our businesses have come, for most of us, came to a complete halt. So for instance, I work in TV, I work for Disney, and so I work for a few TV stations. All the stations are closed. So that completely halted that work. And for a lot of people in the art field, that happened. And so having my Beautycounter business has been such a blessing, because I could continue that business and grow that business while other things are still working themselves out. So I did used to do a lot of in-person classes, a lot of pop-ups. I love that type of stuff. It's so fun. I was an educator with a makeup brand years before, and I also did some education work with Sephora after that. So I teach, like teaching is like natural for me. So that was really, really fun, but obviously I could not do that. So now I've switched it online. I'm doing virtual classes. I'm doing virtual makeup lessons, one-on-one or group classes. I also love, I'm also an aromatherapist, so I like to teach like self-care classes and things like that. And I'm able to do all of that using my Beautycounter business, because it all the values align. And people are able to still get the things that they need from me. People that are like me, if you're an artist out there, this is a really great way to diversify your income, because it's not just about COVID happening right now. What if you break your hand, or something, like happens that way? Like, how are you going to, do your business? And so you have to kind of think about it, like long term. And so for me, this was a real eye opener. And I was so grateful that I already had this business, and that I could even expand even more and offer even more education and do more videos and things like that. Now that we're in the space.
So that's so true. Like I feel so fortunate also to be with Beautycounter at this time. And, I also have always, what was so interesting to me about this selling, the way that we chose to sell, because like Greg said, it would have been a lot easier for her. She came from brick and mortar stores. She had retail background.
Yeah.
When we chose to sell under this model, I was so excited because I just thought of how many makeup artists, I had stepped out of the business to take care of my father when he became sick with ALS. And so that gave me the insight to be like, you know what, I could have been, when I was taking off all of that time taking care of him, I could have easily been selling, Beautycounter to make up for all of that income. And so, for me, I thought a lot about like, what does makeup artistry look like if you aren't, living in New York or living in LA or like DC, working, in TV. Like, what if I wanted to do makeup and I lived in this small town in Texas? Like, I could be doing brides. I could just be doing clients, people that want to learn and experience and have products that are better for you. So to me, it made a lot of sense. And so I see the artistry, like the makeup artists growing, as consultants. I certainly would have never wanted it to grow under this. Like, I didn't want this to happen, but I'm grateful for all of the consultants that are artists that have drawn. And I'm so grateful that we actually offer, some relief, that people are actually being able to get some extra income through these really hard times. And also that they are also sharing the love of clean beauty and how, getting this message out here. So for many reasons, I'm like super, super grateful to everyone. So I think, should we try? I guess we should wrap it up, right? It's like 1:45 now, I think 1:40. But before we hang up, I just want to ask you, what are you wearing? Because I know I haven't even looked at the chats yet, but I'm sure everyone is going to be like, what is Kai wearing as her foundation, her concealer, her brow, her cheek, her lip? Like, tell me everything.
Let's see, like, I'm like, what am I wearing? So my lip is the Future is Fuchsia. It's my favorite Beautycounter lip probably ever of all time, besides one that's discontinued. I literally have Poppy like in my freezer. I don't know if they're gonna hold up, but I stockpiled them. That's my all-time favorite. But yeah, love this color. Oh my gosh. Fuchsia is clean is everything. I'm wearing the navy eyeliner from Beautycounter. And I'm wearing, last year we had those pretty sparkly eyeshadows, the pink one.
That's what I have in my freezer.
I love them. I have backups. I'm wearing that on my lids. In my crease, on my eyes, I'm actually wearing bronzer, which I do all the time. I think all makeup artists, we're like big fans of bronzer in the crease. It's like that's a thing.
What bronzer do you wear? What shade?
Cabana. Cabana is like my ultimate favorite. It's in my pro kit. I literally use it on everyone. I know that there's 3 shades, but like, I just think it works for everyone. Like, you can really go in, or you can do it light. I'm wearing Halo Highlight.
Yep.
I'm wearing, wait, what blush am I wearing? Sorbet. And then I think I already told you my lip. And my skin, I wear shade 460 in Skin Twin, which is epic. I was so nervous when you made a new foundation, because I am team, like, I love Tint Skin. Like, that's why I joined. But it's so good, you guys. I like it better, and I was scared that I wouldn't, but I love it. And I'm also wearing the new concealers. I'm wearing Tan 2 under my under eyes and like striped on my nose. And then for any hyperpigmentation, I'm wearing dark 2, and then just set with mattifying powder. I absolutely love it.
We haven't talked about the concealers.
Yeah, I know. They're so good. You tell us like how this happens, like how, because also I was also a fan of the other concealer, so I was nervous, but how did this even come about? And like, I don't know, just tell us what your thought process. I'm so curious to know because I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah, well, I think a little bit, I can start with Tint Skin for just a couple of seconds. Tint Skin was also, I was really, really proud of that formula because for me, when I had transitioned my makeup to clean, what was missing was foundations. And I am super particular about the skin. I do, as a makeup artist, we all have our things that we're good at and what we like and sort of what sets us apart from other artists. And mine was always complexion.
Yeah.
So, foundation to me was super important and I was having to mix a million different things to get one effect. And in clean, when I transitioned, and this was in 2008,
Yeah.
so 12 years ago, and then but really even with traditional brands I was still mixing things, right? So when given the opportunity to make product, of course I was going to make it out of the needs of what who I was as an artist. And that really was this like buildable hydrating formula that didn't mask your skin but was able to be buildable, but to really just let your inner glow come out. And of course when we launched, that was the time of the Instagram makeup where it was like full coverage. And so of course now I'm really happy to be on be on trend now because in the beginning, but I was like, it's not who the Beautycounter consultant is. It wasn't who Greg was. It's not who I am. And so, but the complexion, I care deeply about formula and shade in this category. And so when re-looking at, I knew we needed to extend the shade range, right? We had training now, we had built we had many more consultants. And so we had the opportunity to extend the shade range, but I also wanted to look at the formula because the formula had been, that was conceived in 2011, right? So I really stood the test of time, but going back, I wanted it to wear a little longer. Like I thought that there was an opportunity there. So there were like minor tweaks. And so that's really what we did, put it in a beautiful glass bottle, and then extending the shade range, obviously. So when it came to the concealer, I also loved that formula. So this is the creamy concealer is a nod to the concealer to touch up. I didn't want it to settle in fine lines and wrinkles. I knew I needed it to be creamy. Obviously, people love a doe foot. I love a doe foot. The click pen was user friendly in the beginning, but it wore itself out, and the clicking thing was too much. And so it really was just about updating the format to where it felt more user friendly to everyone, and to really work on the coverage as well, but still be able to use it as a light coverage too. And of course, the sponge is also one of my favorites.
It's so good. I can't even deal. Like I'm obsessed with the sponge. I just did a little video on it and I was like, oh my God, I'm still talking about the sponge. I have to shut up. But it's genius. Thank you for the sponge. It's
Yeah,
so
the sponge is real. Like it's funny because people are just like, it's a sponge. I'm like, it's not just a sponge. Like I've used a million sponges in my life, and so when conceptualizing this one, it was literally like, I need it to be malleable. It needs to bend faster. It needs to be softer. You have to be able to use it dry. Like there were all these, I need a flat edge. I need a tip. I need a little bottom. I mean, it was just like went on and on and on. And so I really am excited that you recognize that I'm glad to know that you love it.
I love it so much. I also love that you guys made it dye free, because that's always like a thing too. I had to use the other blender for a long time, and it's so hard to find the ones without the dye. Like they don't make a lot of them because I guess the popular ones have color, and so that was really nice. And I feel like when I'm working with a sponge, I always think, man, I wish it had a flat edge and then also the round bottom. And then that's what happened. It's like my dream came true. So
minds think alike.
Yeah, so awesome.
That's great. So should we try to take a couple of questions?
Let's take some questions.
Also too, I'm wearing Beautycounter red. I wear it all the time, and I'm wearing 340, and I have on medium one under my eyes. And you can't really see my brow because of my my frames, but there's a brow pencil there in medium.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, I'm wearing a medium brow pencil
Yeah.
and then medium gel.
And I actually was running a little late because I decided I needed my dandelion more. So
Yeah.
I had to forgo the blush. So I
Yeah,
just
you look great. I
thank
love Beautycounter red. I was gonna wear it too, but I was like, I bet she's gonna wear it. So I switched up. But I love how it adds so much color to your face, so you don't really have to like do a lot of makeup, which
I
is
know.
nice.
I think people get scared of Beautycounter red, and I'm just like, it's such a modern red. Sometimes the blue reds, when I put on a blue red, it makes me look so old and
Yeah,
mature. Like I'm like, no, I need a fierce pop of color, but I need it to be just like this. It's like you want to like have this. It brightens your face, right?
mhm,
When it
yes.
does, like the darkness doesn't pull into your skin, it lifts. So it's all about radiance and the glow, right?
Absolutely. And if you're ever stuck in a taxi and you need to do your makeup, it makes a fabulous blush as well. Just like a little dot.
Yes,
Oh,
it
so
does.
pretty. Yeah.
I do that, and even the color you have on, it's always like, oops.
Yep. Little pop. Yeah.
I know. So let's see. Yes, we're recording. Lots of high fives for you. Lots of high fives for your makeup and the navy liner. You have lots of fans here, Kai. Um, and I think there's one. What are your thoughts on formal training credentials versus MUA, or MUA versus being self-taught? Any ideas for people who would like to become an MUA who can't afford school or formal training?
Oh, that's a good question. So, I mean, I feel like it's kind of split. I say that training is important depending on what you want to do. Like, if you want to become an esthetician, obviously you need to have a license, and you need to check your state that you live in, because some states require you to have a license to be a makeup artist and some don't. So, you need to check that. I would say that it is helpful to an extent, meaning like if you want to learn like hygiene practices and things like that. But also I feel, and I don't know how you feel about this, that makeup artistry is a God-given talent. Like you just, it's in the hands. Like you can learn, but you already have the thing. And so that being said, I mean, training is great, but then also if you think of all the most like the biggest makeup artists, like the people that we all look up to, most of them, I would say, I don't know one makeup artist that I'm like obsessed with that was like formally trained. Maybe they're self-taught. But it does take practice, you know, like people, the reason why makeup artists get to and Christy can fall back on this too, to get to a point where people think that they're a good artist is because they've done so many faces. So I think that practice is very important. And sometimes I feel like when makeup artists get started too, they kind of look down on like working at a counter, stuff like that. And I'm like, that is the best experience you can get actually, because if you encounter so many people that you can do anyone's makeup easily. Like you don't have that barrier.
Fly too, right?
Yeah.
And you have like 2 minutes to grab them and to really just be like, okay, this is like, or you're going to lose the sale, right? So it's actually a great way. And the other thing about practicing, it's like, I always laugh and say I was really into makeup when I was like 10 years old. Like, and I had this like this full length mirror in my house, and I would literally sit there and do half my face one way and half the other. I was like 11, 12, 10. And I always say, like, and I say this a lot and probably everyone's already heard it, but I'm going to say it again. I would have been an amazing influencer had Instagram been back in the day, because I was so obsessed, and I had Way Bandy's books, and I had, he would do Patty Hansen, he'd tell you what he used, and I would do half. I'd look at magazines, like, so I practiced on myself all the time, like what you were saying. As I got older and really, got focused on skincare and moving to New York City and working, then I kind of stopped doing makeup myself. And I've just, it's interesting because in the past, like maybe 2 or 3 years, I've really started applying artistry to myself too, instead of just, and it is really fun, but definitely practice on yourself, practice on your friends, grab your mother, grab your, your brother, your sister, grab anyone and just start practicing. And to your point, you don't have to go to school. There are those things that you can learn from school, the hygiene, those types of things. Like I went to esthetician school, which they had, they also taught makeup, but I didn't learn anything in that course. I had the books to learn, and then just assisting. I know the world is kind of different now, but if you live in a town where you're able to assist, then reach out to makeup artists and, shadow them, clean their kits, like see how they react with clients. But there's so much opportunity in the world of artistry too. So there's not one right way, I think, to enter into it.
Absolutely.
So I guess that's it. You have anything else, or?
No, I mean, I guess unless we're taking questions, I think we should just do that. But yeah.
I think we're getting kicked off. It's almost
okay, perfect.
That's amazing, an hour. But yeah, so I think if anybody knows anyone that would be great for these series, just email Suki Smith. It's suki.smith@beautycounter.com. And we'd love to have you on the show. It's super fun getting to interview you beauty experts. I get to learn so much. And Kai, it's always a pleasure. Like, I adore you. You know it. I can't get enough of you. I would move to DC if I could. And thank you for sharing your passion for Beautycounter and your love of makeup and just being the amazing you. I can't say enough great things about you. So thanks for spending this time with me. And I hope to see you again soon.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
And everyone else, thanks for joining. We appreciate, we couldn't do this if you didn't tune in. So thanks a lot. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.